Smoking a UVTV, motherfucker. Gonna kiss some spiritual ass and sing my piece on God, twin. Neon, nigga. For feather, man. Yeah. So today I'm gonna be talking about Lucifer and its relation towards Venus and stuff like that, and the light bringer energy behind it and stuff like that, and explain the whole esoteric meaning behind what everything all that means. And I already know a whole bunch of Christians and shit like that gonna be spooked the fuck out, or anybody who believe in Abraham religion, because I'm talking about Lucifer, Satan, and the fucking Baphomet. You know what I'm saying? Like, they motherfucker trying to rise some shit from the dead, Antichrist, all that type of shit. Man, y'all gonna have to get the fuck on somewhere talking about. Man, you got to go get the fuck on somewhere talking about that shit around me. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I got the stars on the side of my sunglasses and shit like that. I'm talking about like star alignments and shit like that. I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like the actual meaning and reasoning why they even put that type of shit in the Bible and stuff like that to make y'all look at shit a certain way and making it like some physical thing, supreme God, deity type of thing. For the most part, that's a whole different fucking video for the most part. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about Lucifer and like Venus and the light bringing energy and what all that means and the correlation and stuff like that. And we already know it's Libra season and it's a Libra new moon and shit like that. So this all relates to each other. So I'm gonna equalize and balance that motherfucker and make that shit make more sense and make it have a better type of conversation that we can initiate into to make it not be like us beating on a dead horse and us talking about this shit all the time in like a same type of way in the fucking judgment day and we all gonna die and God gonna scorch earth and shit like that. No, nigga, it's just some fucking England government, shadow government motherfucker who doing that shit, trying to fear mongering y'all. That's really what's going on. But yeah. So we already know that Lucifer is the light bringer and stuff like that, right? And we already know it's a fallen angel who got kicked out of heaven and stuff like that. Now, when we talk about these things like heaven or you know what I'm saying? Like the atmosphere and stuff like that, or talking about celestial bodies. So that's like the sun, moon, the stars, and the clouds, and the sky, and the atmosphere, it being blue and things of that nature, right? And when we're talking about these things like heaven and stuff like that, moving in a celestial body or in a heavenly space is like going through the seasons, going through transitions and stuff like that. So different sun cycles and sun cycles. We have a sunrise, we have a high noon and shit like that. Then we have the sunset and things of that nature, right? And then these different sun pockets is the same thing that actually relate to astrology, astronomy, and anatomy and stuff like that. So, Aries through Pisces for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Because everything just be based upon a whole fucking ecliptic band and things of that nature, right? And then when we talk about Lucifer and shit like that and what it represents in the Bible and stuff like that, it's like in a metaphorical, allegorical type of sense. Not no thing where, this is an actual thing in existence. And then even if it was an actual thing, when it's talking about like an evil, malevolent spirit or type of human and stuff like that, it's just based upon a point of reference. So a point of reference of someone who's acting out these characteristics, and then someone who's probably like an Englishman and shit like that, all the way down to King George, who's writing that shit down and writing down these characteristics of like, we can turn this into like this whole allegorical book, metaphorical state of being of what it means to actually apply these characteristics. But they're really talking about the atmosphere and the seasonal transitions. So spring, summer, fall, and winter, and all the way down to astrology and stuff like that, because we all know astrology is talking about the theology and the science behind the stars and things of that nature. So it's going to automatically talk about the atmosphere and the seasons and things you look outside in nature and stuff like that. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like Aries being 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. and then Taurus being 6 a.m. to, Pisces being 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. and then Aries being 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then Taurus being 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then Gemini being 10 a.m. to 12 and shit like that. And then the high noon being 12 to 2 p.m. and shit like that. Right? So that's like the morning star and shit like that, right? And when we sit and we talk about the morning star, that's what, you know what I'm saying? They claim that Lucifer be talking about stuff like that, right? And we already know that Lucifer be pertaining to Venus and stuff like that. And when it comes to astrology, we already know. And then even if you look it up all the way down to Aphrodite and stuff like that, and they talk about these different Roman Greek gods and stuff like that, or like Cupid or anything relating to love and appreciation or the Venusian energy for the most part, we already know Venusian energy in itself. When we talk about astrology, we talk about Tauruses, we talk about Libras, and we talk about Pisces, right? Because Pisces is exalted in Venus, and then Libra is ruled by Venus is the ruler over Libra, and Libra is the seventh sign, and it's even day, even night. It's even day, even night. So it's literally talking about shit all the way down to fucking like 6 p.m. and shit like that. And then Taurus is the morning star. And I just said that earlier when I was talking about 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 8 a.m. to fucking 10 a.m. and shit like that, right? So, and then Pisces is the motherfucking 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. So when they be talking about Lucifer and shit like that, they're talking about that for the most part. So the morning star, they're talking about 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. They're talking about Pisces because they're all Venusian. They're all Venusian signs. So if you want to compare and contrast, right? Pisces from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. and shit is the morning star. So what they're referring to when it comes to Lucifer, and then really the whole Venusian thing is them talking about that. It's just the whole line of events when they talk about him in like that fucking Bible in the book and shit like that. It's supposed to be like a symbolism thing, but they're talking about an actual thing that's talking about like the sun and the moon transitions and shit like that, right? In a certain fixated position when it's during that time and how you feel. So like from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. that's the morning star, right? And it's like that's the morning portion portion of Venus and stuff like that, right? And then from fucking 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. that's the bright star. That's the you know what I'm saying? Like when sunrise start to hit and shit like that, and like the sun is already up, and that's the bright star. and then the motherfucking the evening star is in Libra and shit like that, and that's like fucking like 6 p.m. or something like that. I think it's like 6, yeah, like 6 to 8 p.m. and shit like that. So that's when like the sunset and things of that nature is happening and stuff like that, right? And we already know, already down to astrology, Venus is dealing with love, right, and appreciation and compromise and relatability and being relative and stuff like that. We already know that Pisces deals with being mutable, adaptable, changeable to your own and other people's ways when it comes to dealing with the emotions and feelings and soaking it into an emotion and feeling. And because they deal with dreams, imagination and experiences and knowledge, wisdom, and 12th house type of energy. So the subconscious realm, the behind the scenes realm, and the collective conscious and stuff like that. During that time period, during the morning and stuff like that, that's when you start to feel like, and then some people wake up during that time, right? Like 4 to 6 a.m. and shit like that, and they getting ready like, oh yeah, we gonna take on this day. This is the morning star. Like this is what I love and appreciate and shit like that. And I have the dream and imagination I want to go through. So that's when that time gets started to where like you actually start getting motivated towards the thing, and it's gonna go into fucking Aries time. So that's 6 a.m. to fucking 8 a.m. and shit like that when you're actually doing these things and stuff like that. That's why a lot of jobs and stuff like that be going based upon that curriculum of getting up in the morning and like being a morning person, and that's when people be getting their coffee and shit like that, and they be in a root chakra being a passion, motivation, shit like that, or intentions, or what they're inspired by, and they actually put forth their effort towards doing these things in actuality and stuff like that, right? So that whole thing is basically like explaining all this in a nutshell, right? And then when that whole Satan thing start coming up and stuff like that, right, it's like a point of reference type of thing, like I've been saying for the most part. So Satan just means like you opposing to get something, right? And everyone got ops type shit, everyone got enemies, everyone got opposers. Everyone don't fuck with everybody type shit, but we all human, so we do fuck with everybody, but we don't got love the same way. But we got love for everybody though. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just a vengeful, hateful ass motherfucker for the most part. So, right, from that being said, everyone got ops. Everyone is opposing to get something, even if it's a fucking thought, idea, feeling, emotion for the most part, right? Not everyone's gonna have the same perspective. Not everyone's gonna look at things the same way and shit like that. This is based on experiences or what they believe is the truth and shit like that. And then everyone get caught up in the language, the lies, the law, the linguistics. You know what I'm saying? Always that fucking L word, all the way down to Lucifer and shit like that, right? So that's why this whole energy of the fucking conniving, deceiving type of energy be coming from for the most part, right? And then we already know that Lucifer is a fallen angel, so that's like a higher angle of how you look at shit. Now, that's a whole different video when it comes to angels and shit like that, and what it means to be more spiritual or being more like the atmosphere and shit like that, and the transition when it comes to the season, all the way down to spring, summer, fall, and winter and shit like that. So from it being a fallen angel, when it's talking about the fall time, it's talking about that. It's talking about the fall time. And then we already know that Libra is the cardinal portion, the initiative portion of fall. So it's talking about that whole transition in itself from Libra to Sagittarius. So during the fall time, that's what be going on. We go from the 7th to the 9th house. We go from Libra, Scorpio, Libra, Scorpio, fucking Sagittarius and shit like that. So it's talking about that transition, and it's a fallen angle because it first started off in Pisces and then it transitions into Taurus, which is the fixated portion of Venus. Pisces being a mutable portion of Venus, and then this is the initiative portion of Venus. So it's getting dragged down into the 3rd dimension and shit like that. So how he is on Earth right now, or like the physical and stuff like that. It went from that spring in that godly space or that goddamn heavenly space and shit like that, and it get brought down into some type of reality-based thing, right? So it's going into this reality-based thing, right? So when we start talking about Libra, right? We start talking about Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, and it dealing with the 3rd dimension and shit like that. My fucking eye itch. When we start talking about the 3rd dimension and shit like that, right? Because we already have higher and lower dimensions and shit like that, right? And if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, just look at it like someone who's high vibrational and low vibrational, right? We in the physical realm, we being condensed. We have our own mind, and then we have our own spirit. Your spirit just being your space. Even if you're not spiritual in a sense, okay, replace the word spirit with space or individuality. You have to believe in something that's greater than yourself, right? Even if you believe in even if you want to accomplish your dreams, your things when it comes to your imagination or some type of passion, talent, gift, or whatever the fuck, all the way down to some type of God-given gift or like charismatic talent and shit like that, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have faith. You have to believe in something that's greater than you to make it so that's actually going to come into reality, all the way down to manifestation and materialization. So you still need to have that productivity. You have to work hard, but at the same time, you still have to believe in something that's greater than yourself. I don't give a fuck if you're a fucking atheist, agnostic ass motherfucker, and you lost in the fucking being a theologian all day and shit like that, right? You still have to put in some productive work of something that you believe in, and you have to believe in something that's greater than yourself, and make that actually happen in reality. And then at that point, that's when you're really working with God and shit like that. And if you don't like the word God, nigga, just look at it in a way of like, God mean all possibilities. You look at something that's impossible to everyone else around you because of some type of vision that you got, and you soak inside that emotion and feeling, and then it's gonna go into some type of thought idea, feeling, emotion, and shit like that. So it's gonna cause that steam. It's gonna turn into a fucking cloud, right? And then you're gonna try to control the conversation. You're gonna communicate about that thing. You're gonna try to social network about that thing because of this, that, and the third. And then you're gonna try to manifest and materialize that in reality and make that shit grounded. You're gonna make it stable. You're gonna have some type of foundation or structure in your life of how you want to conduct this thing and make this shit actual reality based upon the vision you have, right? So some type of fire, water, air, earth concept and shit like that, right? So the fucking combining all these elements, making some type of substance, adding some type of frequency vibration, right? You know what I'm saying? That's why motherfuckers be like, yeah, I'm trying to catch a vibe and shit like that, and they trying to make that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the way down to you being an individual and shit like that. It's things we crafted in our mind based upon some thought, idea, feeling, emotion from you being an individual, and then you actually trying to show that in reality. You're trying to be the walking emanation. You want to be a walking cross. You want to be a walking star. You want to be a fucking, yeah, like, that's how motherfuckers be talking about, hold on. That's how motherfuckers be talking about pop stars or fucking, I'm trying to be a superstar. I'm trying to be the biggest in the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be a walking emanation. I'm trying to be a star, nigga. I'm trying to be a celestial body, nigga. I'm trying to get gassed up. I'm trying to have some type of passion and motivation. I'm trying to be a walking emanation. I'm trying to be a fucking, like, illuminated point, so a light point. So I'm trying to be light as in weight. Not like light as in like light traveling or like this shit right here with fucking turn the light off and on and shit like that. No, light as in weight, and you being gassed up, you having some type of passion, motivation, you having some type of productivity, you got this vision, you have some type of imagination or creativity you want to express, and you trying to make that into actual reality based upon your own individual way of how you go about that shit. For the most part. So all this kind of relates to each other. The whole Lucifer shit, the whole Venus shit, the whole morning star shit, the whole light bearer shit. You bearing that on your shoulders. That's the light you want to bear. You know what I'm saying? That's a light you want to carry and shit like that. And are you carrying a heavy light or are you carrying a lighter light? So is it heavy in weight or is it light in weight? If it's lighter in weight, it don't matter what the fuck going on in reality and shit like that. You being a walking emanation. So all the way down with when y'all be talking about Jesus walking water and shit like that, right? You basically talking about I'm trying to be a light body. So your lighter body is just your mind. For the most part, I'm trying to walk on water. I'm trying to walk over the emotions and feelings that I have right now to carry out this vision. So being that I got that fire in my eyes, I got that passion and motivation to do this shit for real. You know what I'm saying? I got this some type of intuition. I don't know. I just see myself doing this thing. I just have this vision of like, oh yeah, I want to do this thing, and like it's not happening in reality right now, but I got the wit and I got the fucking passion. I got the creativity and I just want motherfucker to see my vision, how I want to go about this shit. I want to blow this shit up. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go viral. I'm trying to go big. I'm trying to, yeah. All these things relate to each other and shit for the most part, right? So, for the most part, motherfuckers just be caught up in fucking the words and shit. Like, yeah, like y'all niggas just be getting lost into the words and shit and get spooked the fuck out about like hella shit for like no reason. Right? Like, it's like motherfuckers just be good like storytellers and shit like that to make it seem like some type of fantasy world of like, oh yeah, it's this, that, and the third, and like this motherfucker gonna come down with some angel wing, cause this, that, and the third, when it's all allegorical and metaphorical and shit like that. Now, we can actually manifest that and materialize that into a reality and shit like that, but for the most part, that's what they talk about. It's like symbolism of actual things we carry out. So you getting your wings is you trying to rise to a higher state of consciousness and shit like that, or a more broader way of how to look at something for the most part. And you moving like the atmosphere. So you changing with all the changes. You changing like the seasons. You ain't getting lost into a pocket of time. When you get lost into a pocket of time and you play out some type of Lucifer type of energy and shit like that, when they be talking about him being a fallen angel and things of that nature, right? You falling. So that's fall season. That's autumn season. That's Libra season. That's Scorpio season. That's Sag season. So you fell. You fell from grace, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, you sprung something, because during the springtime, you spring something off. You germinate the seed and you emanate something, right? That's like astral projection. And then, during the summertime, everyone want to be like, win me, yeah. Tonight we have fun, You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to pop the fuck out and show our shit. So that's Cancer, Leo, and fucking Virgo season. You want to be productive. You trying to do that shit in moderation, right? Whatever emotion and feeling you trying to emit, right? You're going to initiate and bring life to that shit. The springtime is basically like when you birth these things, and then the summertime is when you want to give life to something, and you give life, right? We have babies and shit. We got sperm and egg cells and shit like that. We humans right now, we live and we sit and we're moving. That's based upon you have your own individuality, and you brought in your mind enough to where you have the comprehension and conscious awareness to be a human right now. So it's on some, well, shit, you ain't no fucking bug. Shit, you ain't no animal. You ain't an elephant, nigga. You ain't a bird. You ain't a fucking feline. You ain't a jaguar. You ain't a mountain lion. You ain't no fucking shark. You ain't none of that shit. You a human right now. So, like, you like the highest conscious being on earth right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the physical version of that. And we just trying to expand into be something greater than a human and shit. So that's why it always be those type of stories based upon like Pixar and shit like that, and what it means to be human and things of that nature. But y'all be too lost in being a human when you trying to be something greater than yourself and shit. That's why y'all be looking at these celebrities as examples and shit. And I'm not even trying to say that's bad, but it's just like don't get lost into the fucking idol worship and shit. Even this Lucifer conversation is the whole idol worship shit. All the way down to people who be trying to be Luciferians and Satanists and shit like that. Y'all just be caught in the fucking English language and shit. But But yeah, bro. Like even if you want to be that for real, right? The only like if you want to see that in actual real time in the flesh of what they actually mean, if you saw someone was on some actual satanic type of shit, okay, just look at a motherfucker you disagree with, and they oppose against they oppose against what the fuck you saying. They being Satan, right? They being an opposer. They're opposing against what the fuck you saying. You got ops, right? You got enemies, right? Not everyone gonna agree with your shit. You know what I'm saying? Even if they hit enemies and shit like that. Okay, they're opposing against you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? They're on the polar opposite. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are not balanced. Y'all not on the same page. It's dumb niggas. And if you want to talk about Lucifer and shit like that, okay, you see a fucking regardless if they are Libra or not, or Taurus or not, or Pisces or not, you see a Pisces and shit like that, or you see someone who delusional and La La Land, or they really into their dream, imagination, creativity, shit, you being a morning star. Shit, if you see a Taurus, all about their money, all about their pay, all about that pay, all about their paper, all about their money on, all about stability and shit like that, all about their values, self-esteem, all about fucking and shit like that. Shit, they being a Lucifer then. You see a Libra doing that people pleasing shit. You see them being fake. You see them being relatable and shit like that, right? You see them, you know what I'm saying? You see them overly caring about relationships. You see them being horny because this, that, and the third. That's all them being their sacral chakra. All them being walking Lucifers and shit like that. But for the most part, this is what this shit is talking about in actuality, right? This is what all this is like what is actually talking about in actuality. So when it comes to Lucifer, when it comes to the Venusian shit, when it comes to the Morning Star and the fallen angels and shit like that, that's really what it's talking about. And we already know, all the way down to astrology, we have all the signs in our chart. So all these things we already emanated ourselves and shit like that. So I'm not even trying to like demonize it. They want the way I want y'all to demonize the shit and make it look like, oh, it's some angelic man who's gonna come down because of this and the third. No, us being men and women and shit like that, and us being physical vessels, just having a human experience, we are those fallen things and shit. We're just learning how to be higher than this shape and form we in right now. You know what I'm saying? So like, in a sense, y'all play out Lucifer type of energy and shit like that, and just don't get spooked out based upon some type of Abrahamic Christian God or something like that, and get lost into idol worship when all you see y'all worshiping all the way down to celebrities or these preachers and shit like that, or theologians who be preaching this shit, right? They play out these same things. Not everyone perfect, but that imperfectness is what make you perfect in your own individual, in your own way for the most part. So I was like, yeah, bro. Like, so you playing out any of these Venusian things, so love, God, and appreciation, beauty, aesthetic, in a Pisces type of way, in a Libra type of way, in a Taurus type of way, you really just doing some type of beautiful emanation of these things for the most part. So during the winter time, that's a Pisces way of doing it, and during the springtime, that's a Taurus way of doing it, and during the fall time, that's the fall time doing it and shit. When it comes to Libra, so all the way down to love, God, and appreciation, and beauty, and aesthetic, and stuff like that, right? These are like beautiful things for the most part. It's showing a natural transition. So for Pisces, you know, that's like a dream imagination you have to you trying to bring towards existence and shit like that, based upon some type of intuitive outlook or some type of fantasy you actually want to turn to reality and shit like that, and make that shit be beautiful. And then when it comes to Taurus, that's like you being fixated in your own way of thinking, communicating. When it comes to manifesting, materializing and shit like that, and making that a reality and stuff like that, all the way down to money and shit. And that should be beautiful. So even beyond the money, you being rich in spirit. So from you being rich in spirit, you caring about the space you're in. You caring about your productivity. You caring about all possibilities, right? And you trying to make that possible and actually making that a reality. And you're fixated on that so much to where you actually making that actually come in this one reality in the physical and shit like that. And then when it comes to Libra, you have beautiful relationships. You know how to be balanced. That's why they can be social justice warriors and shit like that, or lawyers or whatever. But you trying to make things fair. You're trying to make things balanced and stuff like that. And then even help people get out that energy of bend over backwards of being fucking people pleasers and get out that energy, and then learning how to notice when you're doing that too much and have a better relationship when it comes to yourself and stuff like that, and initiating create a new way of thinking, communicating, and controlling the conversation and shit. So you can have a beautiful ass conversation too. So all this just relates to the Lucifer energy and the Venusian energy and the actual esoteric energy of what the fuck this shit talking about, right? And then if you looked at if y'all really want to like demonize some shit, it's really talking about something opposing against that. So if you like acting the opposite energy, so for the so hold on. So like if you fighting against some shit like that, right? When it comes to yourself, or when it comes to things in general, right? It's kind of like the opposite. So like, okay, Pisces, it'll be like some Virgo shit, or Taurus, it'll be like some Scorpio shit, or Libra, it'll be like some Aries shit. Is you opposing and being a Satan against those things, right? And it's about discernment type thing of knowing which one is which for the most part. So sometimes you could be too unbalanced and shit like that, and you ground yourself on the opposite energy. So instead of doing the actual beautiful Pisces shit of something that can actually help the collective conscious based upon your dream and imagination, and you making your individuality dualistic and trying to make that be shared with everyone else in your environment, shit like that, when it's you know what I'm saying, for like shelter, security, you know what I'm saying, keeping things behind closed doors or something like that, or keeping some type of recreational type of energy to where everyone can collectively agree upon some type of feeling, emotion of, you know, trying to have some type of collective community type of thing, because you know Pisces be having to deal with the collective consciousness and stuff like that. So they be trying to have like things be mutable, trying to make like the whole ocean, like the whole water, like everyone share their emotions and feelings, and they look at that thing as beautiful and shit like that. That's why Venus is exalted in Pisces and stuff like that. It's just they get lost into the fantasy of it all, and they make them delusional, and they don't know what's real and what's not. So they can get lost into the illusion of something, but it's like they get lost into the illusion of something, and they don't realize that's not actual reality. That's just some imagination you made up in your head, but that's not actually what goes on in reality. So you have to compartmentalize both, so you could bring a piece of that imagination into the reality. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, when you fighting against that and you being too judgmental, you being too nitpicky, or you not doing it on a day-to-day basis, or you trying to compartmentalize with everyone else's shit, but you not having no thing on your own to help help yourself, and you be too nerve-wracking about shit, right? It's like you fighting against that for the most part. And the same thing with Taurus and the Scorpio type of energy, and the same thing with Libra and the fucking Aries type of energy and shit like that. You could be too assertive, you could be too selfish, you could be too caring about yourself, right? You could be too caring about the people in your personal life and shit like that, and what you personally want, and you're not caring about like the relationship itself. You just caring about, does this have something to do with me, and then that's it, type shit. And, or like Taurus type of energy, to where you get too obsessive. You get too obsessive instead of like the possession about that thing. I mean, both polarities can turn evil and opposing and shit like that, but I'm just trying to make it make sense in an astrological type of way, all the way down to aspects and stuff like that. So whatever it, like, from you opposing against that, that's you actually playing out that Satan type of energy. And then it go beyond astrology. Like I was saying, everyone got enemies. Not everyone agree with the same perspective and the same shit all the time. So if anyone acting Satan towards you, so your grandmama, your mama, your granddaddy, your cousin, your relative, your friend, your fam, like, yeah, it don't matter, nigga. They acting like a Satan. They ain't agreeing with shit you saying. They saying, right, nigga, motherfucker looking at you like you saying a whole bunch of bullshit and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. They ain't rocking with it, so they ain't rocking with it. They don't like the way you, they ain't studying. Nothing you talking about, take shit, they ain't studying. Nothing you talking about, they don't like the way you express yourself. They ain't talking about, they ain't trying to understand your knowledge. They don't care about your sentiment. They just like, man, get the fuck on somewhere with that shit. Because of this, that, and third. Nigga, you motherfucker, you look crazy. Motherfucker, you look crazy. Gotta get crazy, type shit. 51 to 50, that motherfucker. 51 to 50, that motherfucker. Straight jacking that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But, for the most part, yeah. When it comes to Lucifer, and it comes to Venus, and it comes to, like, what this means from an esoteric, overall perspective and shit like that, these are really the things that we are emanating, and the things that we actually playing out within the mind, and then we actually make these things physical and stuff like that. And it's a whole metaphorical, allegorical sense of how you can look at yourself based upon thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions and shit, all the way down to the angelic way of looking at it and the demonic way of looking at it. So the only thing y'all should be demonizing is a motherfucker who really sit there and be like, make y'all get spooked out, listen to some type of outer worship and worship their God and deity and shit like that, right? Of all possibilities, and you try to make it possible for that shit to actually come into existence when we don't actually see that in reality, in no way, shape, or form, right? They just want you to get spooked out about some shit they made up. You know what I'm saying? And then they want the world to be on one fucking sentiment and shit like that, when everyone got their own individuality. Not everyone gonna think the same when it comes to all possibilities. You gonna make it possible for you. Everyone got their own personal relationship with God, nigga. So who told you that that's what God told you, so you gotta make everyone else believe in your God, motherfucker? Like, nigga, I got my own personal relationship with God, and that shit got nothing to do with God. That's probably how you feel about God, but I don't gotta feel like that when it comes to God. And God is just all possibilities. They ain't possible in my realm, in my world, in my space. Why you trying to project that shit on me? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I look at that shit. I just look at that shit as projection for real, but yeah.